But the idea that, oh, these people bring me on to, you know, because they really are interested in talking to me and all this stuff. No, they're interested in using you to change a few people's minds. And if they can get you to eventually come over to their side, and, you know, when he gets his the Blaze TV show, then, you know, the cycle will be complete. They have recruited one more person to parrot their talking points, to make the same arguments they have. Okay, so I'm looking at their channel, and I can already tell based on this, is this really it? 5 videos, 42. Wow. Well, that's got to be nice. 13K views. And same-sex couples be good parents. Taking back control of your life. Okay, this seems kind of... I want...
The order of the... Or, so therefore, in a same-sex house, the order... the natural order is being stripped away. I'm not saying you don't love your daughters. I'm not saying that.
The natural order, the natural order isn't already there for straight couples as it is. The only natural order that there is that it took those two beings, these two biological beings, to make the child. But this idea, again,
a lot of echo going
that there's
on.
this magical natural order that every straight family is perfect and they have every mother is a mom and every dad's a father. No, this isn't real. This is not real. This is not real life. Y'all.
Interesting. This is a very interesting discussion involving parents, conservative parents, and children of both. I think it's important to have these tough discussions, and I'm thankful for Jubilee. My main goal is to provide you tools to rationally share your opinion and thoughts. I've adopted the mindset that you can either be a victim of your past or a victor of your future. Oh, boring. At some point, you have moved forward. Amount of baby daddies on the planet, saying the only straight couples can raise a bunch of nonsense. Okay. Interesting. Is there like a shorter video? That's like an hour. These are all kind of long. Anyway, okay, let's do the actual video we were on. Okay. I was just curious. Also, man, 5 videos with this many. This person has to have like a following elsewhere, right? 2019, 1 million views. Wow. 1 million views, but it seems like they only started uploading a month ago. Interesting. I mean, it's mainly because of this video. What's going on with the gays? Maybe we'll watch that. Maybe we'll watch that like next week. Yeah, let's watch that next year, because next week. I'm kind of interested. Okay, anyway. Why they left the left? Let's get it.
Within 1 year, I went from marching with Black Lives Matter to meeting President Trump. Throughout that year,
Cool.
I asked myself some key questions that you might be asking
How did this person meet Trump? Okay.
yourself too. Why are we saying that we embrace love, equality, and acceptance, but I'm scared to express my opinion with my friends? Why are we saying
Who's saying that? Okay.
that the right is racist and divisive when I'm saying no better for ourselves? Why are we saying that we stand for the truth, but we'll try and shut down anyone who offers up an alternative viewpoint? My name's Amir, and this is my story on how I went from the left, the right, and everywhere in between. Why do so many people hate?
Okay, so this person seems like they're a bit politically all over the place, which, oh my god, this is I can do 2160 at 4K. We're not doing that, but wow. Okay. Wow. That's a lot of, okay. Someone has a good computer.
Me. I asked myself this a lot growing up. I was taught that being black was going to make my life way harder than it needed to be.
Certainly a chance.
Harder than a lot of the white kids out
Yep.
there just because of the
Yep.
color of my skin. Not only
Certainly,
that, but I was also taught that being gay is bad. And when I realized I was gay in 5th and 6th grade, I was like, oh crap, well, I'm going to lock this away and put this in the closet, which that'll be a video coming soon outlining
Sadly.
my coming out
Yeah.
story.
Yep.
But that was
Yep.
just
Yep.
like, okay, now there's
Happens.
2 check marks on me. Being black and gay and being told that both of these things were going to be oppressing me throughout my life set the foundation for a lot of my beliefs and my traumas as well. It created this victimhood mindset in me that festered through from elementary school all the way up to...
So this can't be my computer, right? Yeah. No, this isn't my computer. The video is just kind of, the frame rate's really weird on this. Okay, maybe should we turn it down? Like the frame rate, you guys, like the frame rate's getting funky, right? I'm not crazy. What? Okay.
to
We're just gonna.
college. I thought the worst at all times, and I knew that this is not a life I wanted to live. But I also knew that I had to be the change I wished to see. I couldn't just give up, so I became more politically active. Why are we
Makes
blaming
sense.
white people for everything? I attended my first major Black Lives Matter rally, and while it felt really
Okay. Oh man. Okay, so let's talk about this really quickly. Let's kind of head this off at the bend. Okay, so are white people the problem? No. Now, unfortunately, this is I think, perspective that is, how do I say this? The same way that on the right wing, there is a tendency to see groups as monolithic in a negative and pretty racist way, right? On the left, we seem to have a problem, and this is something that I do think is real, where we tend to describe things in probably the worst way. I'm probably not even wording it myself correctly, but to put it plainly, the problem is not white people, the problem is not white culture, the problem is not white colonialism. All of these things are just facts of, honestly, basic colonialism. At least from what I believe and how I try to approach things, is always from a systems perspective first. Mainly because you're not going to solve white people, and you're not going to solve whiteness as a concept. It's not going to happen. We've already created this threshold, this box of what is white people, and there are systems that we have built that prefer those characteristics that are in that box, that a frame of thinking, that frame of identifying somebody. That's rather obvious. That's the systems part of this. Now, there's the conversation about, well, is it because white people are oppressing us? No, it's because the structure is oppressing you. Now, the avatar of that might be, and certainly in the United States, it is white people. But take that structure and what's the word I'm looking for? And reconstruct it in any other society devoid of white people of anything, and you will find these same things play out. These structures are universal. These structures of power and capital, and political, I guess, preferentiality, one could say. But this isn't a white people thing, and I find a lot of leftists kind of get in their heads, or get in the habit, I should say, get in the habit of constantly saying white people, white culture, white this, white that, like white devil, shit like that. Which, is that racist? Yeah, a bit. Is it the same? Is it a reaction to a broader system? Yes, it is. But unfortunately, it's not the tool, and certainly it's not the rhetoric we need to bring to this conversation. Absolutely not. We cannot fight racism and the structural racism that people face in this country with racism ourselves. With it's not something we should be participating in. And there is a stripe of the left that does participate in this. I don't think it's the majority, certainly, although I do think it's a easy way to kind of think about the world. We as humans, I think, have a tendency to I don't want to say essentialize, but group people as quickly and easily as possible. And saying white people, saying that, white people are like oppressed black people is easier than doing the entire gymnastics of white people are the avatars of a system that is historically preferred them over specifically people who are not in the white category, that being an arbitrary category. And because of that reason, there are systems, there are biases that bear down on groups of color, or at the very least, groups of non-white identity. That's harder to say than the problem is white, is white culture, is white this, it's white that. we can recognize it's something that I try to really focus on sometimes, and it's something that we can be better on. Do I think the left is perfect? Absolutely not. But is there, what I'm going to be looking for in this video is the kind of example and who, what's motivating this move from the left to whatever. But either way, I just wanted to kind of get out ahead of that. Because this person mentioned like, oh, well, I'm black and I'm gay, and I'm told that those things, there are going to be, barriers put up in front of me when it comes to trying to attain success. To which we look to intersectionality to tell us, yes, there are a lot of overlapping issues with the black community and with the LGBT community, and biases that bear down on those groups. It's not to say that there are never going to be people who don't come out from under those harder conditions, right? But there is a recognition that we need to reckon with, basically, that, yeah, we have systems that are not fully 100% meritocratic and equal. And I don't even think a fully equal meritocratic system is ever possible. If you've ever heard the phrase, it's not about what you know, it's who you know. That's a perfect example of this. We all understand how this works, that, who you know influences a lot of how far you can go in life. It's not really about what you know. What you know can be taught to a lot of different people. It's about the connections that you have with other folks that will put you ahead of others. But nonetheless, to say that, I grew up being told all these things are going to be struggles for me. Yeah, that's people giving you the warning, like, hey, like, understand that there are going to be times where your identity is going to work against you. Now, what you do with that information, some people don't do well with that information. Some people do perfectly fine with that information. But you need to kind of recognize it, right? You need to recognize what's going on to be able to recognize the problems in the structures that your society has built. Anyway, I'm going on a long tangent. Let's just watch the video. Let's just continue.
Cool being a part of something. I noticed that not all the issues were being talked about. They weren't mentioning black fathers in the home.
More than 72% of children in the African American community are born out of wedlock.
They were mentioning black on black crime.
Who cares?
Killing each other every day, actually outnumbering the deaths of the police versus, urban people.
It was just
okay. So is that true? Yes. Would you also like to know who disproportionately kills, what group kills white people the most? It's white people. All of these demographics are the number one killers of their own demographics, because you're going to live around a lot of the people of the same demographic of you, meaning that a lot of crime, a lot of tensions, a lot of interpersonal conflict is going to happen in those groups. There's also the case where people throw out the black on black crime as this is why it doesn't matter what the police do, even though the police are not there to. The police's job is to protect people and serve the community. They're not doing that if they're killing black people who are unarmed and in their custody. They're just not doing that. They're not doing their job, and they're not doing their job specifically because there's a disproportionate relationship between the cops and the people that they're shooting and where everyone's living. A lot of cops don't live in the areas in which they're patrolling, meaning that they don't know the people. They're not neighbors. They don't live around these people. They're akin to an invading force. They come in from their suburbs into the hood, and then they're all jumpy and they look down on those people. Whereas if you had community policing, these people know the people in the neighborhood, they know their biases, they know their triggers, they know the interpersonal relationships that everyone has with each other. We can do better with policing. That doesn't have anything to do with black on black crime. It just doesn't. The existence of black on black crime is not a commentary on the failed state of how we police people. They're unrelated. They're unrelated. They are two facts, but they're unrelated. The same way that fathers in the house, black children born in unmarried to unmarried couples, also irrelevant to the point. It's just a fact people throw out there to distract from the fact that police kill unarmed black people at a disproportionate rate. There's just these things are issues, but it's not what specifically Black Lives Matter is addressing. That's not the thing that they're addressing right now.
It's a giant we hate the cops and we hate white people party, and I'm not a part of that crew. I'm here to make change.
If
I'm here
people
to
went
bridge
out there
people
and were
together,
like, I
not
hate
to
white
just
people,
complain
then
in the streets
yeah,
and
that's
then
cringe.
do nothing about it. So I already left that rally with a bad taste in my tongue. I just did not like the vibe of that at all. But I still went back to college and I joined my Black Student Union and did a little, the local BLM movements around campus. That was pretty much it. What have I been lied to about? Like any other college student, I was on Tinder and I went on a date with this very nice gentleman. On this date, we were very brutal and honest with each other, and we got on the topic about politics and race relations. And
Oh, fun.
he's white, and he brings up the "it's okay to be white" signs that were popping up all around campus. It was going viral, and we then got into this
Oh, yeah,
heated
yeah, I
argument.
heard about
because I was
this.
telling him how racist and triggering it is for Black people because we grow up in this society and we already know that it's okay to be white, but for some reason, because we're Black, it's automatically not okay, and we're having to live this oppressive life.
Now, keep in mind, the "It's Okay to Be White" is an online rallying call to people who are, we'll say, a bit self-interested in the proliferation of white as a racial group and as a dominant racial group. We'll just leave it at that. That's
But that's when he said that's exactly what they want us to think. They're wanting to divide us. They're wanting to stir up this reaction out of you. They're wanting to control your emotions. And it was at that moment
Who's
that
they?
I realized that he had a point, because I wasn't in control of my emotions. My entire life I hadn't been. My entire life I viewed myself as a victim. My entire life I saw myself as, yep, because of what Twitter is
That sounds
saying,
like
CNN is saying, as MSNBC, being Black, I am a victim. Being gay, I'm a victim. I gave agency to my entire life and my emotions over to mainstream media. So we end that conversation with,
Yeah, okay. I'm gonna come out here and say it, but this sounds like a skill issue. If you see all of the, MSNBC liberals, if you see all of the data that tells us the outcomes of people's personal attainment, the fact that we can go and look at an individual person and predict with a pretty decent accuracy how their future is going to turn out based on their zip code. If you look at that and you think to yourself, I am a victim or any of this stuff, I think I mean this, that is a problem with the way that you're approaching the data, and the problem in the way that you're approaching the relationship that you have to what's going on around the world and in your society, quite frankly. Because are Black people at a disproportionate rate to be shot? Are Black people at a higher and disproportionate rate to grow up and stay in poverty? Yes. Is that something that I think people should dwell on? No. What Black Lives Matter as an organization, what a lot of organizing groups hope to do is to organize people around individual, sometimes there's, a broad swath of policies and issues, but usually there's one key issue to each group, something that they are looking to focus on all of their attention and solve for people, and give them an outlet to understand how to approach the world and how the world approaches them, and also come up with ways of how to address these problems. A lot of them, when we talk about the disproportionate killing of Black people by the police, what we're looking for is a solution. What Black Lives Matter is looking for is a solution to a percentage of the population, specifically the Black population, to stop being culled essentially by not just our criminal justice system, but also straight up by the police. It's a wonder why a lot of Black neighborhoods have trouble in terms of infrastructure, in terms of keeping people in legal work, in terms of having businesses, like owning and operating successful businesses. It's kind of hard to do that when your community is targeted for drug use, specifically marijuana, disproportionately compared to your consumption rate and everybody else's consumption rate. If everybody smokes weed at a pretty standard average threshold, white people do not smoke a crazy amount of weed more than black people vice versa. But white people, specifically teenagers or young adults, are not getting fucking clapped up and jailed because of the drug war. They're allowed to live in their communities and build businesses, go and get educations, work, all the rest of this stuff. There's a lot of reasons to why black communities are where they're at. It's not one or two or three or even four things. It's a compound of many different issues and many different decisions and choices that we made as a society to allow to happen. Some of them were, to be, I don't even want to be said, to be charitable, had the unintended consequence of targeting specific groups. And if I'm being uncharitable, they were developed and structured for that specific use, so that you didn't write in, we want to jail more black people, or we want to make it more illegal for black people to smoke marijuana. You just pass the law and only really enforce it mostly on one community. That's, if speeding is only enforced on Hispanics, don't you think that would affect those Hispanic communities when everybody speeds but only one group gets picked up and jailed for it? So there's a lot of stuff. Anyway, I'm getting into a lot of explanations. It's just, I feel like this is already coming from a misunderstanding of leftist politics and leftist political goals, and then running with that as the reason why the left isn't is whatever. We'll find out what the thesis here is.
With him recommending me to just check out all sides of the media, because he just wanted me to just be aware at least of what the other side is saying and doing. Because at the time I hadn't been. At the time when I say like I was on the left, I only
made a grave
took
mistake.
in
I drank all my
left-leaning
water
news. I didn't
quickly.
even look at the right. Because why should I? Why would I? Growing up, all I was told that the Republicans are racist and the Republicans are homophobic, like being black and gay. Why would I ever give them the light of day? Never thought about it. Never did. But he told me to. I liked the guy, and I was like, you know what? Fine, I am in my feelings. I am all emotional and riled up. I trust you, so I'll take a look at it. And that's exactly.
You trusted like one person on a first Tinder date? Wow, that's amazing. Also, I came from like maybe it's just me, but coming from a pretty conservative family. My parents are divorced, but my mom is very, very normie, boring lib. But my dad is very steeped in right-wing politics, right-wing talk radio from the 90s, all of that stuff. So I've always been hearing the right-wing argument almost all of my life. And I can tell you, at least from my experience, yeah, it's a lot of dog whistling, it's a lot of implication, and it's a lot of, just side-eyeing the racist terminology and imagery. But it's all there if you look just below the surface and not have somebody unexplain it to you, who's going to be like, no, they don't mean this. That's not what that means. They just mean the plain reading of what they're saying.
What I did. How can I pursue the truth for myself? It was at this point, right after that date, I left the left. And by saying I left the left, I mean that I left this idea that I had to stay over there and not venture out.
It's
That
also
I was calling myself a liberal just for the sake of calling myself a liberal. That I was
It's
calling
also,
myself
like,
a Democrat.
I
because
don't
was
think
black and
people
not
leave
gay,
the
and
left.
I
You
just
don't leave
had to be one.
ideology.
I left.
That's
all
why I
of it.
said
gave myself
your
the
ideology
opportunity
just,
to be open and
I think,
and
becomes
express
more
myself in
prominent.
different ways and really try.
If
out
you were always
new
reactionary,
things. If
you
there's
will
one thing I learned while venturing
react
from the left, the right, and
positively
everywhere in
to
between,
reactionary
is
politics.
that mainstream media makes it really hard to understand what is true and what is not. That is why over 300,000 Americans get their news from today's sponsor, Upward News. It's a free daily email that's read by journalists, commentators, and truth seekers, including myself, to get the news in a daily digestible format. It only takes about 5 minutes to read,
Oh.
and the thing I love about it the most is that it can't be censored. They do a pretty good job at staying neutral and just giving you the facts at hand, whereas, Fox is very right-leaning, CNN is very left-leaning, but we all just want the facts at hand. We just want to be given a story, let us read about it, give us the truth, and let's go on about our day. And I found Upper News to be the most trustworthy at that. And the best part is that you can click the link below to join for free. This way, every week, just like me, you get right in your
Well,
inbox
they
with
don't
top
cut,
stories
so
in a
it's a
digestible
bit-
format that
come on,
you can
come on,
inform
come on,
all things
come on.
politics, culture, and everywhere in between. One of the
Come
first
on,
videos
come on.
documented that I watch is a Stephen Crowder Changed My Mind series. Absolutely incredible. They're diving deep into other topics and videos, and I stumbled across Dave Rubin and Larry Elder's video. It's so crazy because I know both of them now. Their video talking about the black community, and that was extremely eye-opening at the
Okay. Yeah, if you've never heard these arguments, they sound very they sound really really convincing if you've never heard them before.
There have been 12 unarmed black people
Okay, are we still talking about?
myself, and she was right. There's more people who get struck by lightning.
Okay, cool.
She said that you're more likely to be students about that's going viral at a college campus.
Okay, cool.
Owens and Brandon Tatum regarding at the time. And then there's two people that really shook up my world.
Oh no, we're still talking about it. Okay.
And that is
hit me with
Candace
it.
Owens and Brandon
We are man. Okay.
Tatum.
Okay.
Regarding Candace Owens, there was this video of her that was going viral at a college campus
Uh-huh.
talking to students about black on black crime, and she said something that really pissed me off. She said that you're more likely to be struck by lightning as an unarmed black man than get shot by the cop. I look up the data from myself, and she was right. There's more people who get struck by lightning than black unarmed men
Whoa, 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 whoa. First of all, that's not what she said. Wait. Oh.
get shot by the cop. I look up the data for myself about black on black crime, and she said something that really pissed me off. She said that you're more likely to be struck by lightning as an unarmed black man.
Okay, you're more likely to be struck by lightning as an unarmed black man. Keep that in mind.
Then get shot by the
Then
cop.
get shot
I
by
looked
the
up data
police.
for myself, and she was right. There's more people who get struck by lightning than black unarmed men get shot by the police. Y'all, some
Right. So if we're not, so she said, at least he quoted her as saying that you are more likely to be struck by lightning as an unarmed black man than you are to get shot by the police as an unarmed black man. Do I have to say it? Do I have to say that obviously that is incorrect? Now, if you look up the numbers of all people struck by lightning, all of them, and compare that with the number of black people who are unarmed, who are shot by the police, that is correct. There are more people in the overall pool of people that get struck by lightning than unarmed black people. I'm sure that might be the case. I don't actually know. I'm not going to look it up. I'm going to hope that this person did. But that's not the comparison she made. She if he quoted her correctly, specifically, it was unarmed black people, meaning black folks. We'll just go with black folks at that point. To which the question further becomes, okay, if I'm going to take that at face value, I kind of think that's a bit insane because I don't know what the number of people gets struck by lightning is. But if we want to compare blacks who are unarmed with black people struck by lightning, then, that might be, those two numbers might be, I don't know what those numbers are going to be. But I'd find it hard to believe. I don't think that many people get struck by lightning each year. But here's the problem with that. When we say disproportionate, every single time, that is a specific number. That is a specific percentage of a share of black people who take up a part of the population of the United States. Meaning that while there are more deaths by cop for white people, there are a larger percentage of white people. Meaning that if there are, let's say, 100 white people, and 50 of them get shot by the police while they are unarmed, that's bad. That is not great. But let's take that number and go, there are 40 black people and 30 of them are shot by the police. Now, that is a smaller number compared to the white person's actual raw number, but it is a larger percentage of that population. It is a 75% of that population, whereas the white number is only 50%. That's what we mean when we talk about disproportionate. It is of a proportion of the population. And secondly, and this is the big part. This is the big one that I was saving at the end of this whole rant. We can't control lightning. We can control police. We can do that. One of those is a natural phenomenon. The other one is a choice we make every time there's an interaction.
I'm sitting here editing this video and I figured I'd go in and get the most recent numbers. For the year 2022, there have been 12 unarmed black people shot and killed by the police. 12. And if we look at the National Weather Service, there have been 19 people struck by lightning and died in 2022.
How many of them are black? What percentage of this group is black, and is it disproportionate? That's where that's the actual one-to-one comparison here.
There's legitimately more people getting struck by lightning and dying than black people are being shot and killed by the police. Spare me. It blows my mind, because I was one of these people that genuinely and honestly thought thousands of young black men unarmed were being shot and killed by the police. But no. After watching a few Candace Owens videos, that's when I stumbled across Brandon Tatum. Specifically, he had this video talking about white privilege. That's the one that really stuck with me, and then I just dove deep into the rest of his content. So much so that I reached out to him on Instagram and I sent him a DM and just said, hey, thank you for being such a guiding figure right now. I'm currently figuring everything out, kind of lost, but thank you in your content for being there. And he responded. He said, hey, let's chat one day. We'd love to help you out. Anything you need. Blew my mind. So we have a conversation on the phone. I'll never forget this phone call ever. But at the end of that phone call, he then invited me out to the Young Black Leadership Summit that him, Candace Owens, and Turning Point USA was throwing at the White House. Is Trump as bad as people say he is? So I arrive at the Young Black...
So, yeah, you're a small content creator who reached out to a larger content creator, thanking them for their work, and then they invited you to their propaganda meeting, their like marketing and propaganda meeting, to meet the president. Okay, do you think that there might be a motivation on their end, since you're a black a black gay, we'll say, centrist at this time, and there's a value to your identities being used to push the same talking points that they do?
Black Leadership Summit, and let me tell you, this was the blackest event I've ever gone to. There were 200 to 300 young black people from the ages of like 18 to 30 in DC going to the White House. Like, when we were at the hotel, everyone's in their do-rags and bonnets and playing spades, and everyone brought PS4s. It was just crazy. I had never seen anything like it, especially people who are all Republicans. And I was like, what am I even doing here? What is going on? So the next day, we wake up and we're going to the White House. So we get to the White House and we go through all of the security checkpoints. We end up in I believe it was the East Room, front row, waiting for him to come out. And he comes out, crowd erupts. They all go crazy. It's insane. And he gives his speech. So at this point, the speech ends. He walks down to the rope and he's saying goodbye to everybody and shaking people's hands. And he comes up to me. I shake his hand. I said, thank you for having us. He said, thank you for being here. And he went on to the next person. And I just stood there in just amazement about how not even a year ago I was marching with BLM, and now I'm...
Oh, by the way, I also looked up the numbers. I've been looking up them. That's why I've been looking over here. 26 total unarmed African Americans shot by the police in 2022. Oh. By the police in 22 than any other year in the past decade. Oh, lovely. Yeah, according to police violence report, 1,194 people were killed by the police in 2022. Let's see, 97% by shootings, 9 people charged with crimes. Let's see. I want the, let's see, where's the moving violation? Health crises. Let's see, unarmed, pretty large. Actual armed, pretty large also. 101 were killed by police were unarmed. Yeah. Like, unfortunately, see, this is the thing. The numbers are never going to be. Let me see. This is like a, I want like a people shop at the, sure. Statista, let's go with Statista. A lot, sure, it's fine. Let's see. I want 2022 only, since that's the year we're talking. Okay, this is what I mean. Okay, 1 second. Let's do this. Okay, number of people shot to death by the police. Total for 2022. This is a slightly different number. Everyone's gonna have kind of different numbers based on where they're pulling from. Of this, 1,097. 341 are unknown, which is a big number to not have any idea. 389 white, 225 black, 120 Hispanic, 22 other. So keep in mind, out of 382, for like out of 225, sorry, for black people shot by the police, right? The question becomes, what percentage are they of the population, and how that relates to how often they're getting shot? That's all that is. There's at least 2 layers to the conversation of police violence, specifically involving black communities. There are, we must take into account. We must be comparing apples to apples. That's why we talk about proportional numbers. I just want to make that really, really clear.
Shaking Donald Trump's hand. What is life? And it was so shocking and amazing. I went to share it online. So after the event, we all go back to the hotel.
Cool.
We eating, kicking it, whatever. And the media is having a meltdown. I'm seeing people cut up the clips of the speech, people lying about him. That weekend, Al Sharpton was lying about us.
Because it was not a summit, it was a Make America Great rally. They used some young blacks as props.
Well, yeah.
Which really is an insult.
You invite some.
Crazy.
Yeah, you tokenize some black supporters. That's what you do.
Because all I saw was Trump talking about fake news, but it was real. That was the first moment in my life where I was a part of fake news. Al Sharpton, someone I used to look up to regarding black issues, I always saw him on TV, is lying about me.
Probably shouldn't
Personal now.
lionize
Like,
people.
Maybe there is fake news. Maybe we are being lied about. What else?
Wait, did they state your opinions, or did they just say you were tokenized? Because that's what you were. Whether you think you were or not, from a political messaging standpoint, that is what was happening.
Is out there, what is going on? Not to mention, I didn't tell anyone I was going to the White House. I just went. I told my boyfriend. I told obviously my job knew, roommates knew, but I didn't tell a lot of my friends. I didn't tell a lot of family. I just went. So I posted about it online, and I said, wow, this is crazy. Being invited to the White House, met Donald Trump. This is insane. To this day, there are friends and family members that I have not spoken to since October 27th, 2018, because I met Donald Trump. Insanity.
Seems like a
Pure insanity.
problem with,
mind you,
the people you're
again,
friends with.
I've been exposing myself to different views the entire year. I've been to BLM rallies. I met Van Jones from CNN, and it all crickets. But the second I go see Trump, now all of a sudden I'm losing friends and family. Now all of a sudden I'm getting canceled and everything's wrong.
Well, if you surrounded yourself with a very liberal circle, then yeah, when you start consuming and being tokenized by right-wing political activists, yeah, I think your interpersonal relationships are going to suffer a bit.
And I'm seeing fake news on the media. I was completely over it at that point, and since then I have been on this mission to find the truth for myself. I'm not aligning or subscribing myself to being a Democrat or a Republican. No,
Right. Mhm.
I'm voting on values, and that's what I care about the most. Yes, I ventured over to the right, and I have a lot of right-leaning friends, and even Blair White talks about this, but I've been on a lot of these right-leaning organizations. I've been on The Blaze, Daily Wire, PragerU, Turning Point USA, but they invite me. They want to.
Why do you think that is? Think about, like, think about this for a minute or two. Do you think that there is a motivating factor in why a group that is politically attempting to take your rights away as a gay man who has stood very, very opposed to gay marriage, to gay equality, to all of these things? Do you think that there is a political advantage to them inviting you and having you come on and use your identity as a legitimizing factor to their policy prescriptions? Because every time some white Christian bald guy goes on any of these programs and says that traditional marriage leads to the best outcomes, not because gay people aren't incapable of raising children, but that's just the natural order, which, let's be honest, they're just saying that gay people are unnatural, which, okay. Do you think there's an advantage to them, instead of that guy coming on and only really speaking to people who agree with him, they have you come on and say not something dissimilar to what they're saying, that there is value to traditional values and traditional marriage, and not to say I'm gay, I want to get married, but I have to recognize that there are outcomes that we see this all the time. They're just they're just using you past the point. It's all kind of obvious. I don't know if this person has a platform elsewhere, but should I look up their social blade? I don't really. No, I'm not going to. I'm just going to make the blind assumption that that there is a non-zero percentage of right-wing reactionary viewers that flock to this channel as kind of the next possible Candace Owens, the next Thomas Sowell, the next any of these people, because there's always a market for tell me I'm right but in a different color. That's all it really ever is.
Talk to me. No leftist organizations do that, because far too often they keep trying to shut out and cancel.
Which leftist organizations? See, this is also the difference. This is not understanding. This is now.
It is evident that
this is not understanding how structures work. Oh, here we go. The woke part. But yeah, this is a misunderstanding of structures. This person says, "Oh, no left organizations." Which ones are those? Honestly. One of the only large left organizations is the Young Turks, to which they don't really have that many people on. They have a group of hosts and they have a pretty tight group of presenters and guests. I think like the Conversation Channel has interviews with people, but that's just interviews. The right is doing a lot of different content. They have the money to fund all of this stuff. This is a misunderstanding of who has funding to do a lot of this stuff. I would love to have this person on, right? Like, I'd love to talk to this person, but who the fuck am I? I have 47 followers on Twitch and like 41 subscribers on YouTube. This is the left. We are a small, and when I say small, I mean in terms of funding, movement. Our movement is incredibly underfunded compared to the actual politics in which we represent, mainly because we stand opposed to capital, which, that's just the way it is. It's an uphill battle. But the idea that, oh, these people bring me on to, because they really are interested in talking to me and all this stuff. No, they're interested in using you to change a few people's minds. And if they can get you to eventually come over to their side, and when he gets his the Blaze TV show, then the cycle will be complete. They have recruited one more person to parrot their talking points, to make the same arguments they have. The difference is that the left doesn't do this. We should be. Absolutely, we should be. I wish we did. But what do we have? We have streamers like me, like Vosh, like Xanderhall, like does Merrick? I don't even know if Merrick streams, but like all these Hassan, we have all these random streamers with a few people with individual channels, but there is no Daily Wire equivalent to the closest thing is the Young Turks, and even then I don't know if I'd argue that they're making the same like volume of content. Daily Wire is making movies. They got movie production money. That's how much a lot of these right-wing ideologues and well-funded billionaires have been putting into this project. We simply don't have those backers. Soros, if you want to send me some money so I can get some better equipment, I'll take it, but it's not gonna happen. I don't have a Soros check. None of us do. There isn't billionaires on the left that will prop us up and make us legitimate the same way there is on the right in terms of online media.
Ideology is very destructive. Why are so many people scared to just share their opinion? You want equality and acceptance, but you won't even listen to someone who's super close to you and the opinion that they share. And everything's so dramatic. It's like, wow, because someone doesn't want drag queens to frolic in front of second graders, now they're homophobic all of a sudden because
well, if their political campaign is to outlaw drag queens and oppose same-sex marriage and transgender healthcare and the adoption of children by gay couples, yeah, I think it's pretty safe to say that when you're bought into one of those, we very infrequently find people who are bought into one of those and not at least the rest of them. It's a bit, it's seldom seen, to say the least.
I don't like pronouns that make me some hard-ass Republican. Make it make sense. We say the right is racist and divisive, but I'm saying Don Lemon saying white men are the problem, and Maxine Waters telling people to go in front of people's faces and be more violent.
Wait, what is this? I want to read both those headlines really quickly. Yeah, we're in the woke culture section, which means we're in the whine about random things that are disconnected section.
Because I don't like pronouns that make me some hard-ass Republican.
Well, again, it doesn't really make you a Republican. It just makes you an asshole. If you refuse to use somebody's preferred pronouns, then yeah, you're an asshole. You can just live with that. It's fine. Be an asshole. It's not illegal to be an asshole. It's just you're gonna have to live with that one. You're an asshole now. Sorry, I don't know what to tell you.
Make it make sense. We say the right is racist and divisive,
right?
But I'm saying Don Lemon saying white men are the problem.
CNN's on loan double downs after saying white men are, quote, the biggest terror threat in this country. Okay, well, they are. That's not a euphemism. That's factual. FBI statistics tell us that white men specifically are the group, here's this word again, disproportionately likely to commit crimes of terrorism or hate crimes. That is the group that represents a certain percentage of the population, but an outsized percentage of this specific type of crime. That is not a opinion. That is a fact based on FBI statistics. You can be mad about that fact, but that's still a fact. Now, does this mean white men are inherently bad? No, not at all. But we need to recognize which demographics are committing what crimes, where those problems are coming from. And it can also give us a leg up in terms of, well, if you're the FBI, who you should be investigating, where your priorities should be. You know, you prioritize the groups that are committing the most amount of crime, specifically around terrorism. This is rather obvious stuff.
Problem, and Maxine Waters telling people to go.
Waters calls for protesters to get more confrontational if no guilty verdict is reached in Derek Chauvin trial. Okay. Maxine Waters, civil rights movement. If I remember correctly, she was a part of the civil rights movement. It's not really shocking that she would tell people to be more confrontational. I don't know if that's really smart. I also don't know where that draws the line, because the line drawn is, hey, get more confrontational. For a left-wing protester, that usually means yelling a bit louder, maybe pushing against the cops a little harder, but she didn't say go pick up your guns and roll into whatever city. That's not what she said, and I don't really think it's reasonable to pretend that telling people to be more confrontational to left-wing voters is the same as if you said that, and contextually, if you said that to a right-wing protest group, that would be more cause for concern because they are more affable to picking up their guns and protesting. The left simply isn't. There isn't a adherence or there isn't that reaction to pick up a gun the same way there is with the right. There isn't that danger just isn't there the same way it is on the right.
In front of people's faces and be more violent.
Also, what's that have to do with racism?
And saying, "Oh my gosh, Trump wants to build a border wall that's so racist." But these politicians live behind borders. Hell, half of us in apartment complexes or gated communities are behind a border wall. At that, everyone all of a sudden became a finance major.
Huh?
Oh my gosh, $5 billion for a border wall.
Gated community?
$5 billion here, $5 billion there.
Wait. What is he talking about? Gated communities?
Behind a border wall. At that, everyone all of a sudden became a finance major. Saying Don Lemon faces and be more violent. We're screaming and crying and saying, "Oh my gosh, Trump wants to build a border wall that's so racist." But these politicians live behind.
Well, it's wasteful. It's wasteful, and in terms of messaging, it's just a get away from us. It's $5 billion to say get out Mexicans. That's all it is. Any person with 2 brain cells sees a wall that's 40 feet high. We'll tell you, show me a 40-foot wall. I'll show you a 42-foot ladder. It's stupid. It's dumb. It's wasteful. It won't get anything done. It's only there to message against the immigration from Mexico. That's all it is. That's the only reason, because it won't solve the problem. It will only put an avatar there for you to cheer for, I guess. But anyway.
Borders. Hell, half of us in apartment complexes or gated communities are behind a border wall. And
who the fuck is in gated communities?
All of a sudden became a finance major.
Rich people's in
oh my gosh,
gated
$5 billion
communities.
for a border wall is expensive. $5 billion here, $5 billion there.
Yeah, it kind of is.
Do you realize that the SoFi Stadium that was just built in Los Angeles is $5.5 billion?
Uh-huh.
So
Wait. Will the border wall make money? You do realize that stadiums inevitably will make their money back, right? Like, they don't just build the stadium. The problem with the wall is you would spend $5 billion building the wall, and it sits there and degrades. You build a stadium, and you can sell tickets. You can collect taxes on that. I'm not in favor of the way that we build and construct and have the ownership determined. I'm not in favor of these cities who build these stadiums for then private companies to be able to, basically run their fun events in. Those companies should be covering that cost. But nonetheless, one is an investment. The other is just building useless infrastructure.
$5.5 billion for a border wall is too expensive, but it's okay to just build a stadium. I'm not saying our government is the one that made the stadium, but just to give you a perspective
they did,
on what $5 billion
most likely.
is. We throw it around.
They sold
all
the name to
time.
SoFi or whatever,
everywhere. We're saying
so that
we're
it could
standing
make
for truth,
some of
but
its money
everyone's
back.
getting shut down. If an idea is stupid and you don't like what someone is saying, challenge them. Prove them wrong. Teach them. That's the beautiful thing about being ignorant, is the lack of knowledge. You get the opportunity to learn something new or teach someone something new. Either way, you win. Just learn, just talk. But
what is going on?
That everyone has to be so pent up. Everyone's going to get canceled. Everyone has an opinion and just shut the hell. Y'all, it's so frustrating. It's so irritating.
It is.
I want
It is.
no part of
It
the
truly
woke
is.
ideology and this wokeness and the leftist. I don't
I want to ask this person, what's woke culture? What is being woke? Like,
want no part
honest
of
to
it.
God.
Again, not saying that the right is perfect either, but damn, the left's annoying. That's what it is. And people are getting frustrated and tired of it all. Just so wild to me.
It always
how it's
tells
viewed
you a lot when people say people are sick of X. The thing that I've been making my entire video that I'm frustrated on. Well, I actually, from what I understand, we actually have some data on that. Let me go
That's
find it really
wrong
quickly.
to be looking at all sides. How someone can easily just say, "Oh yeah, I'm reading this Candace Owens book," and then they're being judged. Oh my gosh, you're a Republican. Oh my gosh, you're defending conservatives. It's like, why is it not encouraged to look at all sides? Why is it not encouraged to be a balanced individual? Where have we gone? If you
Well,
are one of
it
these
depends on
people
what the
who are
balance
contemplating
is.
leaving the left or has a problem with the woke ideology, just leave it. It is okay.
Do you notice how this is only from one side? Again, this person is talking as if they're, trying to find the healthy center, but it's only concerned with, like, this person's only concerned with pushing people to the right. Like that's all it is. Read more Candace Owens, watch more conservative content, do all the things. That's kind of all that they're saying for the most part. It's why I'm hoping I can find this latest poll. Find out the latest poll. Let's see. It's this public opinion data, but it's always this. Look, people are sick. Well, which people? Which people? Who's sick? Like give me some data. Substantiate this. I don't know who you're talking to, because when you say people, the reason why you just say plainly people is mainly so that you can broadly gesture at a majority that may or may not be there. Are the majority of Americans sick of woke culture? Well, a majority of Americans voted for Joe Biden, so you tell me. The Republican Party has not won a popular vote in the United States since Reagan, I believe. So since Reagan, we have had the proliferation of wokeness. Let's just use that as a framework, right? Really quickly. Why have Republicans never won a popular vote then? If people are so sick of wokeness, why do they keep overwhelmingly voting in raw numbers for woke candidates? Why? Hillary Clinton got more votes. She lost the Electoral College. That's a reason why the structure of our elections is quite faulty. But in terms of raw numbers, in terms of when we say people, we are counting person by person. Democrats win majorities in national elections. So who is this people who are sick? Is this a minority? Is this a majority? Is this a plurality? What is it? I think it's a minority. I think it's a minority of a majority. A very small section of people who are, let's be honest here, center right, for the most part, who usually identify with the Democrats, because Democrats are center right, center left, depending on the issue, but certainly always to the center. And what they're finding is, the Democratic Party is constantly being, they're constantly having arguments with the left wing, which is the much more ideologically driven and coherent one of the party. So it's always this gesturing at a group that I don't actually know exists. I wish I could find that data, but I don't know. I'll look for it at some point. We'll go over it. Oh, is this it? Wait. Let's see. Free Trump. Yeah, free him into a smaller cell. Woke as positive. March 8th, 20. Thank you, The Hill. Why, thank you. Most in new poll view woke as positive term. Majority of Americans move. More Americans in a new poll have a positive association with the term woke, understanding it to mean to be informed, educated on, and aware of social injustices. So where are these people? Where is this silent majority? I think this person has kind of always been a bit socially conservative, probably. This is just coming out or a alignment of those values with a party that more represents their values. They are a gay black conservative. Hey, it happens, but let's not pretend that this is a reaction to anything. These politics have always been there. It's just you finally decided to really put your stamp on it. I find that when you hear these people talk, it's a lot of conspiracy, it's a lot of I don't want to say misinformation or disinformation, just half information, and usually fueled by personal experiences and anecdotes. You know, you go to any BLM rally, you're gonna see, a like all groups, a pretty wide range of political takes. Some of them are going to be cringy, some of them are going to be a little bit less, some of them are going to be really good and inspiring, and some of them are going to be yikesy, because that's how all movements works. All movements are mixtures of cringe, yikesy, inspiring, amazing, all of these things. But it's why you need to approach the idea, like the ideological underpinnings, from your own lens, and not let, no matter how cringy, no matter how many cringy white people are the problem liberals there are, it's not going to change the fact that I am a leftist. I am somebody who is rather sympathetic to socialism and egalitarianism. I think that any of the, it's white people's fault, it's all that's just racial bullshit. It's the essentialization of historical, structures that that people mistake for turning it into a race issue. It's not a race issue, it's a structure issue. Michael Brooks said it all the time. I wish more people, I would love for this person, honest to God, to watch some Michael Knowles. If you want some, not Michael Knowles, what the fuck is wrong with me? Michael Brooks, to watch some really excellent leftist commentary in terms of kind of the ideological underpinnings of leftism. Michael Brooks is somebody who I think about a lot, and I really try to center his creed of hard on institutions, hard on structures, easy on people, because people are complicated. They're a mess. They're all over the place. But structures, those we can look at and immediately identify the problems and biases in them. But, not everybody's there all the time, and not everyone's going to be perfect all the time. But the why I left the left stuff, I just tend to think that you just never were on the left. You just thought you were a liberal or whatever, and, now you're kind of coming to your real ideological, aligning more with your ideological location on the spectrum. The thing that they tell, like at the end of all YouTube videos, where they tell you to like click on one of these like things to watch more videos. Yeah, I've been meaning to film one of those. So that's what I was doing. I was just setting it up to film one.